Forever 21 is gone. On May 1st, 2025, every single Forever 21 store in the United States closed permanently, marking the end of a $4.4 billion fast fashion empire that became a symbol of retail apocalypse casualties. This Chapter 22. Bankruptcy, the second filing in 6 years, represents the collapse of what was once America's fastest-growing clothing retailer. In 1984, Chang and Jin Sook Chang opened a 900-square-foot clothing store in Highland Park, Los Angeles, with $11,000 in savings. They were Korean immigrants who had arrived in the United States 3 years earlier with no college education and limited English. Do-won had worked 3 jobs simultaneously, up to 19 hours per day, as a janitor, gas station attendant, and coffee shop worker. Jin Sook worked as a hairdresser. After 3 years, they had saved enough to open 1 store. They called it Fashion 21 and targeted the Korean American community. In the first year, that 900-square-foot store generated $700,000 in sales. The Changs opened a new store every 6 months. By 1989, they had 11 stores across California. By 2001, they had 122 stores in the United States. By 2005, they had 400 stores and $640 million in sales. By 2006, Forever 21 crossed $1 billion in annual revenue. Every store meant jobs, sales associates, managers, stockroom workers, and maintenance staff. Every expansion meant suppliers, manufacturers, logistics workers, real estate transactions, and construction jobs. By 2015, Forever 21 operated 794 stores worldwide, employed over 35,000 people, and generated $4.4 billion in annual revenue. Do-won and Jin Sook Chang's combined net worth reached $5.9 billion. But the growth came at a cost to workers. In 2001, the Asian Pacific American Legal Center filed a lawsuit on behalf of 19 workers who alleged they sewed, ironed, and packed clothing 6 days a week, sometimes 12 hours a day, for far less than minimum wage. In 2012, 5 employees claimed they were frequently kept at stores during lunch breaks and after the end of their shifts without additional pay. The low prices that made Forever 21 popular came from workers who were not paid what they were legally owed, and from suppliers under constant pressure to deliver cheaper products faster. By 2008, the Great Recession had devastated retail, accelerating what experts now call the retail apocalypse. Major chains like Sears, Mervyn's, and Borders were closing stores and filing for bankruptcy. Real estate prices had collapsed. Most retailers contracted to protect cash and wait out the downturn. Do-won Chang expanded. Forever 21 bought vacant properties from bankrupt retailers at reduced costs and opened massive stores, some exceeding 100,000 square feet. They opened a 90,000 square foot store in Times Square and a 94,000 square foot store in San Francisco. Bigger stores meant bigger anchor tenant obligations, fixed costs that did not adjust when foot traffic declined. Between 2009 and the late 2010s, foot traffic in U.S. retail stores plummeted as part of the ongoing retail apocalypse. In 2009, stores saw 35 billion visits. That number fell dramatically as e-commerce became the norm. Forever 21's business model was built on high-traffic shopping malls and anchor tenant economics. When the traffic disappeared, the model failed. Forever 21 was also expanding internationally. By 2015, the company had opened 251 international stores across 40 countries. Those stores were not profitable. On average, international locations in Canada, Europe, and Asia were losing $10 million per month. The family structure became a liability. Do-won Chang was chief executive officer. Jin Sook Chang oversaw all merchandise. Their daughters, Linda and Esther, both Ivy League educated, took senior positions. Linda became executive vice president and head of marketing. Esther became vice president of merchandising and head of visual design. The family owned 99% of the company. There were no outside board members, and there was limited hiring of experienced external executives. Chang was signing off on employee expense reports and questioning Uber rides even as the company approached collapse. In 2017, Forever 21 launched F21 Red, a new store format that performed 50% below projections. That same year, the company bought too little inventory. The following year, they bought too much. At the scale Forever 21 operated, these errors meant millions of dollars in waste and lost sales. The daughters launched Riley Rose, a beauty chain, in 2017. By 2019, Riley Rose had 15 stores in high-priced malls with strained vendor relationships. The company was investing resources into a new concept while its core business deteriorated. Forever 21 never solved its e-commerce problem. By 2019, the website accounted for only 16% of total sales. Competitors like Shein, Fashion Nova, and Temu were building entire businesses online, operating with lower overhead and faster supply chains. Shein launches over 10,000 new styles per day compared to Forever 21's weekly drops, a speed advantage that redefined fast fashion competition. The company also faced a critical supply chain disadvantage. During rapid expansion, Forever 21 did not invest adequately in its supply chain infrastructure. It took longer to get fresh styles to market. In fast fashion, speed matters. H&M and Zara were faster, able to design, produce, and deliver new styles in weeks. Fast retailing's Uniqlo dominated quality basics. Forever 21 was falling behind across all segments. Meanwhile, Shein and Temu, backed by PDD Holdings, exploited the de minimis threshold, the $800 import loophole that allows small packages to enter the US duty-free. This regulatory advantage meant Chinese competitors could undercut Forever 21's prices while avoiding the tariffs and compliance costs that domestic retailers faced. Legal pressure mounted. The company was sued for design theft more than 50 times by designers, including Anna Sui, Diane von Furstenberg, Gwen Stefani, and Gucci. In 2019, Ariana Grande filed a $10 million lawsuit after Forever 21 failed to secure an endorsement deal because they would not pay fair market value. Instead, the company posted over 30 unauthorized images on Instagram using a lookalike model styled like Grande's music video, incorporating her music and trademarked phrases. Even after notification from Grande's lawyers, Forever 21 failed to remove the content for weeks. On September 29, 2019, Forever 21 filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in Delaware. At the time, the company had 549 US stores and employed 28,500 people, with 23,500 of them part-time or seasonal. Assets and liabilities were estimated between $1 billion and $10 billion. Forever 21 announced plans to close up to 178 US stores and up to 350 stores worldwide. It exited operations in 40 countries, closing all locations in Asia and Europe. In Canada, the company filed for bankruptcy and closed all 44 stores. In the UK, 3 stores closed in early 2020. Those closures meant immediate job losses for thousands. Part-time employees, many young women working retail to pay for school or support themselves, lost income. Managers who had worked their way up lost careers. Suppliers who had built businesses around Forever 21 contracts were left holding unpaid invoices. Foreign suppliers claimed they were owed $120 million. Chinese suppliers alone were owed over $18 million, with no provisions for payment in the bankruptcy plan. Many were smaller manufacturers who depended on Forever 21 as a major client. When those invoices went unpaid, some suppliers faced their own financial crises. Mall operators absorbed significant losses. Simon Property Group and Brookfield Property Partners were among Forever 21's largest landlords. Together, they represented 187 Forever 21 locations, 42% of the company's U.S. footprint. Simon alone had nearly 100 Forever 21 stores, representing 1.5 million square feet and 1.4% of its domestic base rent. When Forever 21 closed stores, it left malls with vacant anchor tenant spaces that were difficult to fill. Smaller retailers in those malls depended on the foot traffic Forever 21 generated. When the anchor tenant left, those businesses suffered from deteriorating anchor tenant economics. In February 2020, Authentic Brands Group, Simon Property Group, and Brookfield Property Partners bought Forever 21 for $81 million. A company that had generated over $4 billion in annual revenue just a few years earlier sold for $81 million. The Chang family, after 35 years, lost ownership. Their combined net worth had fallen from $5.9 billion in 2015 to $1.6 billion by July 2019. The new ownership kept 448 U.S. stores open and maintained the e-commerce operation. Spark Group, a joint venture between Simon Property Group and Authentic Brands Group, took over management in 2021. By fiscal year 2021, the company posted $2 billion in revenue and $165 million in EBITDA. It was not sustainable. Authentic Brands Group CEO Jamie Salter later called Forever 21 his biggest mistake. On March 16, 2025, Forever 21 filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy again, a Chapter 22 bankruptcy representing the second filing in 6 years. The company operated approximately 354 leased U.S. stores. The filing specifically cited competition from foreign fast fashion companies like Shein and Temu, exploiting the de minimis threshold, inflation, and shifting customer preferences. The company announced an orderly wind-down of its U.S. business. By May 1, 2025, all 354 U.S. stores closed. The downtown Los Angeles headquarters shut down. Thousands more jobs were lost. More suppliers went unpaid. More malls were left with vacant anchor spaces as the retail apocalypse continued. This time, there was no buyer willing to restructure. The brand may continue internationally through licensing agreements, but in the United States, Forever 21 as a physical retailer is gone. 43,000 people worked for Forever 21 at its peak. Most were part-time, hourly workers. Many were young women, often students or recent graduates, working retail jobs to make rent, pay tuition, or support their families. When Forever 21 closed stores in 2019 and again in 2025, those workers lost income in an economy where retail jobs were already disappearing due to the retail apocalypse. The suppliers who were owed $120 million in the 2019 bankruptcy did not get paid. Many were smaller manufacturers who could not absorb that loss. Some went out of business, others laid off workers. The economic damage extended beyond Forever 21. The malls that lost Forever 21 as an anchor tenant faced cascading problems from deteriorating anchor tenant economics. Anchor tenants drive foot traffic. When foot traffic declines, smaller retailers see fewer customers. When smaller retailers close, the mall becomes less attractive to remaining tenants. Communities that depended on those malls for jobs and commerce saw those resources contract as part of the broader retail apocalypse. Forever 21's collapse represents a broader shift in how people buy clothes, and the ongoing retail apocalypse affecting traditional mall-based retailers. The company was built on a model that required people to visit physical stores and shopping malls frequently to see new inventory. That model depended on car culture, suburban sprawl, and consistent disposable income among young consumers. By the late 2010s, that model was obsolete. E-commerce offered more selection, lower prices, and convenience. fast fashion giants like Shein and Fashion Nova could undercut Forever 21's prices while operating with lower overhead and exploiting advantages like the de minimis threshold. The infrastructure Forever 21 had built became a liability. The company's failure also demonstrates the risks of family-run businesses at scale. Do-won and Jin Sook Chang built Forever 21 from nothing through brutal work hours, enormous risks, and relentless drive. But they never brought in outside expertise, and they never created a board with independent oversight. They micromanaged even as the company grew too large for that approach. Their daughters, despite Ivy League educations, were promoted into senior positions based on family relationships. When the business needed strategic pivots and experienced crisis management, the leadership structure could not provide it. The result was a company that expanded recklessly during the Great Recession, failed to adapt to e-commerce, made catastrophic merchandising errors, and burned through cash on unprofitable international stores and ventures like Riley Rose. By the time the problems became undeniable, correction was impossible. There is something nobody mentions that I experienced as a consumer. The quality of the clothes was never really good. I would buy something at Forever 21, and after the first wash, the garment would shrink. Colors would fade, seams would come loose, the fabric would warp. When you realize you are paying for clothes that are not going to last, you start asking yourself, what is the point? When they advertised their final sale before closing, I went to see what I could find. I had a small budget, about $50, thinking maybe I would score some last-minute bargains. But when I walked into the store, the clothes hanging there looked used, really in bad shape. Stains, worn fabric, wrinkled items that had obviously been there for months, maybe years. I stood there, looking at those racks, and thought that I would keep my $50 instead, and that what was there really was not worth it. Not even at final discount prices was it worth buying. That is where e-commerce and competitors like Shein, Temu, and Fashion Nova destroyed Forever 21's model. If you are going to buy cheap, low-quality clothes that will shrink after the first wash, why not buy them online for half the price with home delivery? You do not have to drive to the mall, find parking, or waste an afternoon at a shopping center looking at neglected inventory. Convenience combined with lower prices and the de minimis advantage completely destroyed Forever 21's anchor tenant model. When your product quality cannot justify the mall experience, and when competitors offer the same quality cheaper and more conveniently while avoiding import duties, your business model becomes obsolete. Forever 21 no longer exists in the United States. All its stores were closed as of May 2025 as part of the ongoing retail apocalypse. The brand may exist internationally through licensing, but the company that employed tens of thousands of Americans, that anchored hundreds of malls, and that represented a path to the American dream for a Korean immigrant couple no longer operates in the country where it was founded. Workers who lost their jobs are finding new employment in an economy where retail work is increasingly precarious. Suppliers who never got paid are absorbing losses or shutting their doors. Malls that lost an anchor tenant struggle to fill the space, as anchor tenant economics continue deteriorating. The families who depended on the income, stability, and economic activity that Forever 21 generated are managing without it. The cost of this. Chapter 22 bankruptcy collapse is measurable. 43,000 paychecks stopped, $120 million in unpaid bills. Shopping malls across the country now have vacant storefronts and declining traffic as the retail apocalypse continues. An entire ecosystem was built around one company's success. When that company failed, the ecosystem failed with it. What bad experience with Forever 21 products did you have? Did your clothes also shrink after the first wash? Did you go to the final sales and see the same disaster I did? Leave your experience in the comments below. If this story made you think differently about fast fashion and what we are really buying when we look for bargains, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.